Hi folks, Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for joining us live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. You're probably thinking about my coughing. I've still got hay fever. It's spring sort of here in Australia, and I live right next to a forest, and so hay fever is a kind of an occupational hazard of where we live. Nonetheless, coming to the the point of the essay, the Conservative Party leadership, the once mighty Conservative Party of a mighty empire that not much over 100 years ago had the world quaking with its decisions. If the British Parliament declared this or that, the whole world would sit up and take notice and have to make adjustment. Not anymore. Britain's now managed to turn itself into an utter laughingstock, some sort of ongoing train wreck fiasco. And it's hard to believe that it all happened so quickly. Let's have a look at the leadership of the Tory party, the Conservative Party, again, as I said, the once mighty party, the party of Churchill and Peel and Pitt and Thatcher. Now, three candidates for the leadership remain. One's just been eliminated. And they have these runoff elections, so it's not like the highest vote count wins. It's a runoff, so that if there's five candidates, all five stand, and the one with the least votes is eliminated. Then there's an election with the four, and then the three, then the two, and then of course there's one. Now, the last three candidates consist of two black people, James Cleverly and Kemi Badenoch, and that's the black Nigerian chick with the dreadlocks. And there's a white guy, Robert Generick, or his nickname seems to be Robert Generic. But nonetheless, those are the three. A white guy just got eliminated. Now, they recently did some speeches at a Conservative Party, Tory Party gathering. And they also, I think at the same gathering, did like an interview, sort of a Michael Parkinson type meet the people interview, where a very proper English gentle person sort of asks questions and they go through the motions of that. Now, let's look at none of the candidates, in my view, none of the candidates are even slightly impressive. None appear to be addressing the real issues. They all are skirting around it and talking about, soft touch, sort of half-assed bullshit solutions to the big problems that exist. None of them are really veering far away from the globalist script, and none of them appear to be representing the British people. Now, Cleverly made a couple of things. Our job is to make the lives of the British people better, and well, that's great. But you were in government for years, and he was a minister, and he failed, comprehensively to make the lives of the British people better. So why has he just suddenly discovered it? Does he just decide? Oh, I guess I've just discovered why I'm in politics. Was he wanting to make the lives of British people better, but there are others around him that were preventing it, or so? I don't know. He doesn't seem to cover that. They all, the utterances all appear to be platitudes rather than hard-hitting policy solutions to anything. Now, let's look at Cleverly and Badenoch. James Cleverly is the trouble with James Cleverly and Kemi Badenoch, the two black candidates, is everything they have was delivered by affirmative action. Everything. If they've achieved anything on merit, it was being able to go to the local shop and count their change when they bought the pint of milk or something. There is nothing in their careers that suggests or imply or even hint at anything resembling merit. Now, maybe there is, and I'm too stupid to see it, but James Cleverly was given one of the prime blue ribbon Conservative Tory Party electoral districts in Britain. There would have been people lining up who would have killed to get that sort of electoral district, because it's effectively a job for life. So he's gifted this person who'd achieved and done nothing in his life. He had no credentials that I can see, at least, that would have warranted this. But the party machine, which even at that time was largely, if not completely, controlled by the globalists, they wanted some black people in Parliament. And given that his inability to campaign and win votes, and so they parachuted him into an electoral district without the consent of the people there, the voters, as in the party voters there. And then, because it's a Conservative Party district that would win no matter what, then he was gifted that seat. So not only could he not have won that election not only could he not have been a candidate in that seat without the direct and brutal intervention of head office, globalist-controlled head office. There's no way he could have gone, and no way he wouldn't have had a snowball's chance of getting that electoral district, or getting the party voters to vote for him. Not even the slightest chance. So that's affirmative action. And then, of course, it's a safe district. Now, to give you an idea how safe it is, regularly the vote, the Conservative vote alone. Remember that the British have a first past the post system, so whoever gets the most votes of the candidates standing for election wins the seat. Now, the Conservative vote in those sort of seats is regularly around the 60 to 70% range. It is about as conservative as you can get, and so he's got no chance of losing. To give you an idea just how sort of conservative it is, the vote that the general election that just occurred in Britain, occurred a few months ago, his vote was cut in half. He lost half his voters. So, and he still won quite comfortably. That's how conservative a seat that is. So it was one of the primest blue ribbon seats in the country, and something he didn't earn, he didn't get, and never could have earned or never could have got without being an affirmative action appointment and a head office parachuted in by globalist controlled head office. Now, okay, so he's there. Let's maybe he's he's got many credentials that we can talk about, which would demonstrate his suitability. He couldn't have won the seat, and he couldn't have got anywhere. I doubt he could have got any seat without a head office intervention. He can't go into the all black districts to get the black vote because the Labor Party had that sewn up. So in order to get a Conservative seat, he could only get it through affirmative action appointment. Now, he was in the Army Reserve. I should have done better research, so I don't know how long, but he was appointed a senior officer, I think a major or a colonel, something like that. Now, given his achievements or accomplishments or non-achievements, non-accomplishments, that was clear that those officer positions he was given were also affirmative action, in my view, at least. I don't think he could have accomplished those at all. Now, once you start getting up to the level of colonel, you're supposed to have a certain degree of accomplishment and achievement, educational underwriting of it's supposed once you're talking about colonel, you're then talking about the elite of the officer corps in the armed services. So the fact that someone of no accomplishment was given that job, again, it's affirmative action. So he was gifted an affirmative action thing. Now, he got some sort of degree from some third or fourth tier, or diploma from third or fourth tier college, some sort of polytechnic or whatever, like a low tier college. And I think it was in like hotel management or hospitality management, something like that. Now, those, from certainly what I'm aware of in Australia, with those courses, no one ever fails. Only by refusing to turn up or even sit for the exams or do the papers or something like that. That's the only way you can fail. So I don't think anyone fails as long as they just turn up and hand in a piece of paper with some writing on it. And so that can't be. I wouldn't be surprised if that was affirmative action. Just listening to the way he talks and the way he forms his thoughts. Bear in mind, he's been in politics for quite a while, so if you like, he's had some training and acclimatization. But looking at the way he puts his thought, I don't think he could have passed any sort of rigorous test. So I'm assuming that was probably affirmative action as well. And he just got to wave through, he's black, give it to him for goodness sakes, affirmative action, equity, and the education system in Britain at the time when he was doing that was very much going down that path. So then he gets into, so he's in Parliament, he's gifted a safe seat. He's got no education to speak of, doesn't come across as a bright guy, and he's got an affirmative action time in the armed services. That they probably could wave around and say, look, he's dedicated, he's going to, he's a true patriot, serving in the military. So then he gets into, with an unusually quick short space of time, he's gifted then a series of ministries, as in, foreign affairs minister or this or that, all sorts of different, immigration minister, whatever. He's gifted all these positions that he could not possibly have won on merit. Now, I don't know, given the standard of the politician that was around has been going downhill, at a rate of knots for quite some years. But at the time he was first being gifted these ministries, there's no way he could have got those on merit. Just couldn't have done it. So he's being gifted again through affirmative action. Now, I've noticed people, once they've been the recipients of affirmative action for long enough, they get to believe that they actually got there on merit. Hey, I keep getting all these promotions. I keep getting all these things. Maybe it was because I'm fucking brilliant. Maybe it's because I'm so fucking brilliant. That's why all these things happen. Now, there's no way he could have got those ministries. Now, his job while he had them, I don't know, are there accomplishments that could be pointed to? For example, when he was, he was talking about how he wants to break up the smuggling gangs that are smuggling people. Well, okay, we've known that for decades. Why did he not do anything when he was in a position to do it? Well, that was glossed over. He talked about sort of vague relocation schemes and how this and that was going to work, and we tried, but the courts wouldn't let us, and this sort of no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You could have changed the law quite easily to, as in the British Parliament. You guys didn't do it. You could have done it. You didn't. So he sort of glossed over. It just didn't quite work, and it was yeah. And that's bullshit. I don't buy any of that. Now he then presents himself as a man who's going to tackle the tough issues. Well, fine, say so. So okay, we're going to do mass deportations. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to reduce migration to skilled migration only. No more than 50,000 people a year, or something, that sort of thing. But he didn't do any of those things, or if he did, I missed it. So none of the talk. It was all soft shoe shuffle, and nothing was serious that I could see. But the only thing that came across is when he started stating his credentials. I'm the only guy who's accomplished all these things. You've accomplished fucking nothing. You were given everything on an affirmative action platter. And bottom line is you're an ordinary low IQ guy. That's it. And you fancy yourself as a future prime minister. It's insane. But there you go. Now, Kenny Badenoch, so I think slightly different. She's an anchor baby. The Nigerian mother came, a heavily pregnant Nigerian mother came to, came to England to give birth, and then went straight back to Nigeria. And on that basis alone, Kemi Badenoch has British citizenship. So I'd hardly call that traditionally British. But anyway, now she's married a white guy. I think it's a Jewish guy, but he's married a white guy. So I suppose there's integration and assimilation going on there, as indeed has James Cleverly. He's married a white lady. Now you can tell by the way Kemi Badenoch talks that she didn't go to the local working class high school. So Now, so a family was quite well-to-do and in Nigerian sort of terms, at least, quite influential. So now Kemi's almost the same, well, not almost the same, pretty much the same. I think she had a better education than James Cleverly had, but and you can see by the way she forms her thoughts and how she applies logic that she's had a more rigorous education than he has. But nonetheless, she was gifted a safe Conservative seat in a safe Conservative blue ribbon territory that she could never have won, unless the globalist controlled head office affirmative actioned her into that electoral district. Wouldn't have had a snowball's chance. So straight away, she's affirmative action product. Again, the ministries and the senior appointments and positions she's had, all affirmative action. None of it could she have won on merit. None of it. And when we look at what her educational accomplishments, again, I don't think she's bright enough to get across the line. But again, I see affirmative action in that. So again, her whole life is affirmative action, all of it, and gifts given to her by the globalist controlled party machine, Conservative Party machine, aggressively giving her gifts and handing affirmative action gifts to her. So both Cleverly and Kemi Badenoch exist totally on the affirmative action bandwagon, the gravy train. Neither of them have any accomplishments, in my view, that you can point to that suggest they would be working in anything other than a suburban accounting practice or something like that. I mean, Kemi Badenoch, you wonder, would she be working, maybe the supervisor of the checkout at the suburban supermarket? I mean, would she have done any better than that in reality without affirmative action? Probably not. Now, coming to Robert Jenrick, again, he's got a reasonably safe seat. Otherwise, he wouldn't have hung on to it in the last election. But he does have more accomplishments to point to. I thought he was rather unimpressive, really, at the Conservative Party conference. I thought in his speaking he was trying to come across as a man who's in command of the facts and all this sort of thing. But it's quite different, and I can speak from personal experience with when you actually have to go everything from memory, everything off the top of your head, and cover a whole range of important issues. It's fairly difficult to be on point on everything. Your concentration can waver, and you're sort of dealing with what was that next point I was going to cover? So there are hesitations, and which doesn't look good when you're doing the public speaking thing. And if you've got if you're going from notes or a teleprompter, it appears much smoother. But equally, then it's someone's written it for you, or you had many days to prepare, and you just read off the script. And it's fun. I mean, just these videos that I do, I do everything off top, and pretty much everything off the top of my head. Very, very little of it is scripted. I may occasionally have a few bullet points to go off, but that's it. And so it's much easier to get that smooth, precise, rapid fire flow of discussion. But he didn't come across as that impressive. I mean, in terms of the speech, as much as it was a bunch of bullshit platitudes, I thought James Cleverly's speech was better, but it's it was meaningless. But both Kemi Badenoch and James Cleverly seem to think they're players in the big league, in the big game, and they seem to have no awareness that everything they have is affirmative action, everything, and that they just seem to not be aware of it. Now, Jenrick would obviously have to be one of the boys to get the safe seat and to get the positions he's had. That's not, nor is he particularly impressive, by the way, but at least his accomplishments are more likely to be, or a greater proportion of them are likely to be his, rather than through affirmative action. But that's where it's at. The once great and mighty British Empire is now down to a final Tory party election leadership runoff of two black affirmative action people that wouldn't have made it out of working in the local supermarket or grocery store if they had to work in the real world. You've been with Tacitus today, your pushback challenge. Thank you for listening.